Oh no.
Missing.
Greg?
Missing.
I thought this was a duet.
Missing.
Oh, so you're just gonna sing all the parts? Those are not the right sounds.
Missing.
Can you hear me?
Missing. Oh, missing.
Bonk. Welcome to Missing.
I'm Greg.
And I'm Tim, and this is a podcast that celebrates and appreciates the missed things of the past, present, and future.
Yeah, in every episode, we take a key moment from our Miss Things storied career and do what we're most skilled at, which is make it all about us.
I want to jump right in.
Oh.
Which is...
Okay.
You did something this morning that made me laugh so hard.
Oh, yeah. Why don't you bring that up on pod?
So it's hot outside.
We can sort of dissect that.
It's hot outside, and Greg was at the front of my apartment. And he says, here, and I was like, oh, I need 2 minutes. So I was like, be down in 2. So I'm down in those 2 minutes. I come, and I'm like, Greg's not here. This is so weird. I look, and then I see you crouching basically behind a dumpster for shade.
Yeah, hiding.
Confirm or deny.
Hiding in the darkness.
I've never laughed harder to be like, what are you doing? And then I was like, oh, he's looking for shade behind a dumpster.
Well, I will. Okay, I'm going to defend myself here live on pod because... Well, actually, no. I'm going to take myself to task. So I'm never normally here on time. Mm-hmm. Today we are recording early.
We are
for a number of reasons, and in fact, I actually recommended getting here earlier.
I know
earlier,
and I said, "Dear God, please no."
Yeah, no, I need that extra time. Yeah. No.
Well, also, we sort of agreed on the time yesterday, and so then I planned this morning backwards to being like, I will be ready by that time.
Of course, of course. And you are not a morning person.
I'm not a morning person, so it's like I would have had to waking up.
That sounded completely correct.
Waking up on a Saturday night.
I never heard that.
Yes, well, I'm changing it. It's wake up on a Saturday. You don't know the Hilary Duff song? Could be New York, maybe London, Paris, maybe Tokyo.
That sounds like the Fergie song, L.A. Love.
No. Listen, this is a very iconic Hilary Duff song. Like, I want to say her second album after Metamorphosis.
What would that one be called?
I have a feeling it's called just like Hilary.
Hilary, part 2.
I kind of feel like a lot of times the pop girlies, their second album is just their name. You know? Or second or third. It's like Britney. Oh,
yeah, the pop girls.
Yeah.
But usually, I mean, if you're like I hesitate to use the phrase
you're gonna come
real
for Hilary?
Artist.
You've seen her dance on the Today Show.
Oh, of course. And I can't even learn it. The dance is so complex and it's so sort of off the beat in a way. It's remarkable. And I admire Hilary and she has some absolute bangers. Congratulations on the new teeth.
And what a vocalist.
And the true vocalist. I love the first of all,
yeah, raise your voice.
Well, I was going to say the Lizzie McGuire movie. This is what dreams are made of.
And then
Sing to me, Paolo. But of course, the Raise Your Voice where she's singing la la la. And then all of a sudden the most like auto-tuned sound I've ever heard of, like just completely different voice coming on and everyone's sort of like, whoa.
It's so... We have to do her at some point because I could talk about her for... I know that we joke about having multiple parts, but I actually could do like a 7-part Hilary Duff.
I would be open to at least one. At least one.
But back to... were you done defending yourself hiding behind a dumpster?
Oh, it's just, I finally got here on time today, and I abode by your rules, where, I got here at the exact time, and sort of, I got out of my car. It's one of the hottest days of the summer, and I'm already standing outside. I say, I'm here, and then I see, great, be down in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of standing next to a person who's Also, their car door is open and they're sleeping
Right.
half in, half out of the car.
You asked to get in, and they said no.
Yeah, and I wasn't quite sure what was going on there, so I'm going to say I'm going to move over here to this dumpster where I feel safe. On that note, do you have a doll of the day, mother of the moment, sister of the second, aka...
Dod Mom Sauce.
That, of course, is our segment where we talk about the person, place, or thing that we're currently most obsessed with right at the moment.
Boy, do I ever have a Dod Mom Sauce, which is earlier this week. I found myself famously at the grocery store. I'm leaving. I'm coming. I'm like at my car, putting in my groceries in my back seat.
Do you feel safe? Can you tell me which grocery store, if you feel safe?
It was actually the Pavilions on Vine.
I actually
That's
don't know
my
what that
pharmacy.
is.
Sorry to lie. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but that's my pharmacy.
Do not dox.
Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
Like, that's
okay.
Like so, yeah.
We'll bleep that. We'll bleep that.
Yeah. And so I'm, putting stuff in my back seat. All of a sudden, I see this. I start hearing sounds, and I start to see like a man in his has to be late 80s, kind of struggling. I look. I'm like, Greg?
I was about to say you look in the mirror, so you beat me to it. Okay.
And he's really struggling, and he's attempting to run really fast, but again, he can't because he's in his late 80s. Again, I'm like, Greg? Yeah. And so, and then I'm like, I see that he's running after, or attempting to run after, his little fedora. And it's running, and it's going like racing. The wind is taking it into that busy 4-lane on Vine.
You say fedora, and I'm over here going, Tim.
Yeah. Here's my hat.
Your type of fashion choice.
Yeah, exactly. I wish I could say I've never worn a fedora, but I there was a time where I wore a fedora.
I think the listeners know that you've worn a fedora, and I will not be silent about it. Yeah. Speaking of wearing.
But so this hat is racing towards Vine, busy 4-lane street. And the man is he's not going fast, he's going as fast as he can. And I'm like, you're not going to be able to stop before you hit Vine. And this hat's already gone to the wind. But he clearly wants it. And then out of nowhere, this straight man, or what I can only assume is a straight man based off of the length of his cargo shorts.
Well... Let's be careful.
For the listeners, Greg is wearing cargo shorts, which I'm just now noticing.
You're just not... You're and Tim, of course, is wearing an activist shirt. Which I
Silence
did
equals
already,
death, yeah.
which I did already make a nod to.
Oh, you did? I missed it?
Back at Fedora, I said I will not be silent. But it's okay. I don't need to bring back my jokes.
No, I loved it.
Okay.
Sometimes I'm so in it that you need to repeat it.
Of course. So tell me he's not running across the street.
No, so he's running as fast as his body can take him towards Vine, and I'm screaming basically. I'm not, but I'm frozen. Then this straight man comes at the very last second.
Not helping at all.
That's the thing. It's this man is running. He, at the very last second, scoops up the hat and also uses his body weight to stop the man from he wouldn't have been able to slow down. So he literally basically uses his body as a barricade to stop the man from going into Vine. And I was like,
oh my God.
Who is this Superman? And this man is the straight man, or maybe gay man with long cargo shorts.
It's been known to be done before.
Yes. Is my Dod Mom Sauce. And you have already correctly pointed out, what was I doing during this moment?
Nothing at all.
Not a damn thing.
Nothing at all.
I was sitting there, frozen, silent,
Observing.
hoping for the best. Maybe I was like, oh no, am I about to see this man pass away? And
you're like, oh no, should I take my camera out and record? Just in case anything happens.
Well, the funny thing, the button to this story is that I then had an out-of-body experience where I was so moved and touched by that interaction. Cut to me, and I'm literally just watching it happen, and then I literally just start clapping.
Stop.
I literally did 3 claps. I went because I was so moved in the moment of that, and then I'm so far away that I pray that they didn't see me. And then I just immediately was so embarrassed. Like, I got into my car and I was like, what just overcame you?
Wait, you actually clapped?
3 claps. I did 3 claps. I was so, like, I kind of felt like everyone who was watching it, we were all, like, I thought, there was, like, a couple other people, and we were all kind of watching it happen, and I thought it was going to be one of those moments where we're like, wow, look at this good Samaritan, and sort of, no.
And you're sort of encouraging everyone else to get involved in this way,
I thought it was
applaud.
It was kind of like, look at the kindness of humanity. Like, let's all collectively, rejoice in this positive thing and just, like, share this moment with some claps. And I was wrong.
It is Los Angeles. Everyone looks at you like you're sick. Then you run into Vine.
Yeah.
If I found myself in that scenario, which, I have found myself watching sort of natural disaster coming from far, from afar, from up close, I would have just, pretended like I was 11ing. I'm going to stop the car. Because I do that still to this day. I'll think I can control a movement and things around me with my hands and telekinesis. And I'm convinced it's never happened.
Yeah.
It's never happened, but I am convinced that one day it will.
Is that the superpower that you would want? Like, I always think that the one that I would when people are like, what do you want? I was like, honestly, the one I always think about is when the remote is a little too far. Oh, that's the superpower one. Is I just want the ability to, like, have it magnetically come to my hand.
Oh,
it's so small thinking. It's so small thinking, but that is what I think about the most.
Yeah, but it's day to day.
Yeah.
It's day to day. I think I would like to fly. Personally.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know
ours are similar level. Yeah.
I would like to fly, but it's only because I like to be in control in the air.
Right.
I don't love sitting in the passenger seat, being hurled through space. I like, I love my control. So it makes me feel
picture
safer.
you in the air and, like, accidentally, like, running into tons of birds.
Oh, the thing is, first of all, I'd be shot down immediately because everyone's always out to get me.
Yeah.
So people, like, everyone's trying to get me.
Mm-hmm.
Me flying into birds.
Yeah.
Somehow my engines
falter.
Yeah, what else could I encounter? I would be hit by satellites, I think, a few times.
A blimp.
But also I would love to sort of, like, pass through a blimp and, like, do a little, like, see it indent, kind of like Marshmallow style. I think that would be really fun to sort of fly through a blimp. Of course, then that's disaster for the blimp.
You like, cause the next, like, Hindenburg disaster. Can I speak? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the name of me in flight. Yeah. I have Hindenburg written on the side.
Greg, I've been talking for honestly, not long enough, actually. No.
Yeah, honestly, and I sort of keep interrupting everything you're saying.
No, but do you have a dad mom sauce?
I do. I do have a dad mom sauce. So I went to the optometrist last week. I went to go get my eyes checked. And for the first time in several years, they did the famous thing called dilating my eyes.
Okay.
Midday. It was like 12 on a Wednesday. We record on I almost said Tuesday.
Yeah.
Can you believe lying to our listeners? Wow. Thank God I corrected that because I never would have recovered. But they dilated my eyes and I was wearing glasses at the time. And so they gave me this incredible pair of not sunglasses, but it was like a sunglass slip to put behind my glasses. And when I tell you, I've never felt more in my sexual power than wearing.
Oh, how I wish I could see a photo.
We'll post it on the Instagram and TikTok maybe, which we say every week, and sometimes we get to it, sometimes we don't. But yeah, I was feeling very, very in my sexual power. Of course, I couldn't see anything, and I probably shouldn't have been driving. They told me it would be light sensitive and not able to see for several hours, but I did have to get home, so I sort of wore those all afternoon. And instead of going home, I went to Costco and I wore them through Costco.
Are you? I'm assuming that was driving you, or no? You could drive. I thought when your eyes were dilated, like you couldn't even drive.
Well, they didn't really stop me.
Oh,
They didn't
got
really
it.
stop me. I stuck
So you can still see
around.
enough. You could still. Okay.
You
Yeah.
can see.
Yeah, okay.
It's blurry. I tend to feel most sexual when wearing healthcare provided eyewear,
I agree.
i.e.
in
the
this-
dentist and the optometrist.
Well, I just think in general that like you usually feel sexy. I mean the collective you, not you, but like,
Oh.
but like where it's like when you
So
can't.
you're
see-
saying I'm not sexy?
when you absolutely that when you
We are coworkers, so
Yeah,
if you said
exactly.
that, I would
Yeah.
call HR.
yes. I'm trying to think of what our HR woman's name would be.
Candace.
Ooh, okay. Which, by the way, this is a little teaser for
Owens.
something that's about
Candace
to come.
Owens.
But Candace Owens.
Is our
Candace
HR.
Cameron Bure. Is
Wish them both nothing but the best.
nothing love and light
Yep.
to our queens. Is I feel like you're usually the sexiest when you can't see yourself. Like you feel the sexiest, but like then the minute the spell is broken, the minute you look in the mirror, like you'll like try on something that you think you look sexy in, or you're really feeling yourself. And I feel like that's the best to then like if you're with your person, you just immediately don't look in the mirror, but just go because it's
Yeah.
a vibe. But if you for a second get a glimpse of yourself in a reflection or reflective surface, you're done.
Right.
So I bet you were sexy, and then you did probably get a look at the Costco, like, window, and...
Sure, yeah. At a certain point, you do need to face yourself. You need to face facts.
I don't believe in that.
And that was a hard pill to swallow. But for a few brief,
Precious.
golden, precious hours on a Wednesday afternoon, I was blinded.
Should we take a break?
We should.
Okay. Do, 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 do. Welcome back.
Oh,
God.
Not only did we get that wrong, are we off?
I believe that was great because we like locked eyes, and I felt like we gave each other like a little micro moment of like we're insane.
We're
We got
doing
this,
this.
and then was not at all.
Yeah. But of course, Tim is doing this incredible thing off pod where he's clearing his throat in a way that is just making me feel ill.
I'm just
It's
trying to
just-
give the listeners the best vocal experience from me.
Uh-huh.
It's a selfless act that I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, you sound the way you're gonna sound, and I think they've either accepted that at this point or they haven't.
Yeah. They've stopped long ago.
Sure,
Yeah.
of course. Well, anyways, it's time for this week's Miss Thing. Let's dive right in because this is a very exciting.
This is a Miss Thing that, like, thankfully, finally, in recent years, she has gotten her due.
Yeah.
She has been chugging along for so long. Like, this is a 2-decade plus, probably even longer, 3-decade plus career that, like, she really didn't hit the zeitgeist until she was in her 40s.
Yes, which gives you hope.
Which definitely gives us hope.
Oh, okay.
She's an actress who, like, for the longest time was just, like, the best friend, the supporting character.
The sidekick.
The sidekick.
I dare say she went from Miss Thing, and now she's Mrs. Thing. She's
Help.
officially graduated
Yes.
to Mrs. Thing. And, of course, she's married to Hollywood. Because
Yes.
she's a leading lady. And this week's
Mrs.
Mrs.
Thing
Thing
is
Kathryn Hahn.
Okay.
I mean, Elastigirl herself. And I mean Elastigirl of her face. Like,
Oh,
yes.
yes.
Talk about a funny chica.
She can do it all. She can do drama. She can do comedy.
drama.
She makes everything seem easy, effortless. She has been in, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days.
Where you
obviously.
probably first recognized her, yeah.
And then Step Brothers. So funny
my God,
in Step
Step
Brothers.
Brothers.
It's like so funny in Parks and Rec.
Oh my God.
It's like she has been in, and then she became like, and then it's like Afternoon Delight.
Which
There's,
is such a great
Yeah.
movie. If you guys haven't seen Afternoon Delight, it is such like an easy, breezy watch. I feel like that was the first, like,
Yeah.
that was a movie where I feel like she really transitioned
Popped off.
into her, like, leading lady.
to Mrs. thing.
To Mrs. Thing. Well, there's, of course, a film that explores marriage and everything.
Where she became Mrs. Fletcher.
Mrs. Fletcher. Of course. Another thing, which I haven't actually seen that one.
I read the book, but I did not see the show.
Okay.
But it's like, then she
we're
became,
bragging.
Yeah, I know how to read.
We are
listeners.
literate. That famous Tom Perrotta book, author of The Leftovers, Little Children. If you haven't read, an incredible film starring future Miss Thing. Kate Winslet, to go down the road. She was also in Revolutionary Road,
which is was my entire personality for 2 years. And when we do the Kate Winslet episode, spoiler alert, that is probably what I will talk about.
Oh, absolutely, with David Harbour, who also recently became Mr. Thing.
Yes,
Mr. Thing, Miss Stranger Thing.
This and we're not even done. It's like she became kind of queen of HBO or streaming services with like Transparent and I Love Dick.
A show I've never seen, but I do support. I strongly support.
Recently, she was in Tiny Beautiful Things. I love that book so much as well.
That's based on Dear Sugar.
Dear Sugar, yes. She played basically Cheryl Strayed.
But of course, the reason we're sort of talking about her today is because she's now queen of Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm. Marvel herself.
Miss Marvel.
The actual Miss Marvel.
And she's starring in Agatha All Along, which of course is a spin-off from WandaVision, because all of a sudden she's the villain in WandaVision and she has her own show.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the type of person we're talking about. Someone who's so good in any one of her roles that they're like, actually, let's just build an entire series around her. And then, on top of that, let's put icon Patti LuPone, Aubrey Plaza,
the kid from Heartstopper.
Heartstopper, which is a show that I support, having not even seen a trailer.
One time we will watch it. Yes.
We will watch it. We'll add it to the list.
When I think of KATHRYN HAHN, I think of how she very classily was just, doing these movies, getting, like, people were not necessarily recognizing her talent, but she was still, hitting every role she had out of the park, waiting for someone to, like, elevate her to Mrs. Thing.
Of course.
Which is when I think how I make that about me is that when I was way back when at CBS, the network with you.
Not to be confused with CVS, which everyone did.
Always things,
CVS, the pharmacy, which is where I get my medications, but not to... Yeah. We will bleep that as well.
Okay, so I'm at CBS, the network. I'm chugging along, working. One of my duties, which we've already talked about on the pod, I believe, is that, like, I had to go to the front and, like, usher the talent or the random auspices to the meetings.
Executive producers on a project.
Yes, thank you.
People, big names attached. Yes. That's a word that I actually still don't quite understand. So I'm approximating the actual meaning. But
Anyways, I would take back the random talent to the meetings, and I was tasked with, like, for a minute kind of having small talk.
Sure.
And as I was doing that, you're kind of parading them through the office, and all the other departments can kind of see your interactions. And at one point, I was in the drama department, obviously.
Huge surprise.
The comedy executives turned to me one day and they're like, "Wow, you are really funny." And they're like, they were like, "We're about to do the private screenings for the pilot tests with all of the bigwigs, the, like, 15 most important people at the network are going to go into this little movie theater that we have and decide which pilots get chosen." And so she was like, "Would you like to introduce the comedy things?" After seeing this interaction, I was like, "Oh my God, am I getting elevated based off of how fucking funny I am. This is my moment. I'm about to be the next big comedy writer at CBS.
I get to speak in front of executives?
In front of literally the president of CBS and even maybe the CEO. And I was like, okay, this is great. I was like practicing where I was like, okay, all I have to do is just introduce the movie. I was going to do like a quick little pun. Can't remember a single one.
Oh, no,
and then I assumed that I would then just go sit down in the theater with them. Like I've earned my keep. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, after this, they're going to realize they've already noticed that I'm a little bit of a star. But after this, it's like, give me that overall deal. You know? So that whole night, I'm like, make sure to know all the names of the pilots that I will be introducing. I go into the tiny little theater. All of the 15 most important people are there. I was,
of course, front row.
Yeah, you were front row. Mm-hmm. And then I, do my pun on some of the names. I go then to sit, like, in the theater, because it's also, by the way, only half full. Like, it's a small theater, but there's enough for, let's say, 30 people, and there's only 15. And so I'm like, there's ample seats. I could sit wherever.
Right.
As I go to, like, sit in the back, the executive is like, no. Then I'm like, oh, okay. And then she just like, without using her words, but just her body language and her hand, she was like, go into this tiny, now room would be generous.
Is it the little hallway space?
It's literally a closet would be generous. Is
this where the DVD player is?
This I would describe, if anyone has ever seen the movie Matilda, as a chokey. Or a coffin with a
chokey.
I would say it's either, the best way I could describe it is either the chokey or a coffin with a porthole. And this porthole also is like so low too. You have to like kind of crouch to see out it. And so the lights are already off. So she basically like forces me into this like chokey. And she's like, you are responsible for like being like pressing play and stop. And I was like, oh, I don't get to watch with you guys like silently. I thought that was kind of like the perk of doing this job, is I get to see the pilots.
I'll laugh at the jokes.
Yeah,
I will
help. Yeah. And she goes, no, go into this. So then I'm kind of like, okay, great, what perk? I just have to sit now for like 2 hours in a coffin and look out a porthole. She whispers to me to like, wait until everyone leaves before you can come out. And so I'm literally like, wow, what a star am I that I'm like being like hidden. And then I try to make the best of it. I go to the executive afterwards and I'm like, wow. Meanwhile, I could barely hear it or see it. And I was like, that was a really funny pilot. And she's like, you're not supposed to have seen it. Like, that's like, you're just supposed to introduce it and then go back into that room. And got like mad at me that I was complimenting, even though I was in the room, or I guess in the room next to the
room. Right. Yeah. She was like, what, you didn't wear the blindfold, the noise canceling headphones we had for you?
And yet I'm still expected to press stop at the right time, but I'm not supposed to consume the pilot whatsoever. And so, I'm still kind of waiting for my KATHRYN HAHN moment, but that like where I got to come out and show them what a star I am,
what you can really do.
What I could really do, but unfortunately that moment never came. Not at CBS, at least.
Not at CBS. Yeah, see, I'm over here and I'm over here thinking, how did he get that opportunity?
Greg, how do you make Miss Thing all about you?
Well, funny, you and I are in a similar boat. Watching Katheryn's rise from supporting player to leading lady has been so inspirational. Katheryn was always someone that I actually used to like write literally every woman role in like any of my pilots, 40 and above. I used to write that with Katheryn in mind because she was so dynamic to me.
She's every woman.
And I was kind of hoping that the day would never come that she would be so famous and that my show would make her famous. But ultimately her talent sort of shone through, and now she's
Mrs. Thing.
Mrs. Thing, which I wish her nothing but the best. If she does want to come be in one of my shows, that would work for me too. But the thing that's so exciting about her rise is that she was everywhere and she was in everything. But when it came time for her to be the lead, she was really ready for it. Mm-hmm. By the way, another credit of Kathryne's that I saw when I was looking on IMDb, she was in the American pilot of Ab Fab.
Whoa.
As Eddie.
That is not shocking at all.
I know.
I mean, it's like shocking that I didn't know it, but it's like, oh, that makes sense.
I didn't know it either. It was like it's a dead year? Pilot. I don't know, but it was on NBC, of course. Yeah. Kristen Johnson of New York is Dead fame, Third Rock from the Sun fame, played Patsy. And Zosia Mamet, is that how you pronounce her name?
Zasha, I think.
Zasha Mamet was Safi. Directed by James Burrows. What I would give to see that.
Wow.
Anyways, so she was really ready for her moment. And that, of course, reminds me of a time when I sort of stepped into my power and not wearing those optometrist sunglasses, but another time.
You would have been unstoppable if you were wearing those.
Of course. So when I was a kid, I know I've mentioned this on the pod before, but I played, community sports. Whether, it was against my will, sure, but, I played them. And my dad was very involved. And at one point, so I lived in, a very quaint, small town in New Jersey. What's so funny to you? What is so hilarious, funny,
when you said community sports, I thought that you were going to have that lead into you saying that was theater, your community sports was theater, and so then I was shocked when I was like, oh, it actually is sports.
No, when I'm talking the stage, you'll know it.
Oh, okay, got it. So I was just having an internal moment right there of being like, oh, it actually is sports. Okay, keep going.
No, it actually is. Well, you should be. But I contain multitudes, and never forget that. Much like Katherine, I contain multitudes. You have not.
I have not experienced those multitudes. I've only really seen one dimension.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so one day, this is when I was at maybe 4th or 5th grade, the town sort of hosted a pancake breakfast, an all-you-can-eat pancake breakfast. It was a community thing, and all proceeds went to the leagues.
Okay.
I think it was baseball. It was something, one of the recreational leagues. And it was a volunteer thing. So I get there to the pancake breakfast. I get back into the kitchen. I get working. Yeah. I'm at a station. I am, I'm mixing the batter. Yeah. But I'm looking around. I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, this station needs some help. So I'm kind of moving from, I'm like, if you don't mind, you take over here. I'm going to go help out over there. Suddenly, I'm diagnosing all the issues. Suddenly, I'm the bear over here. I'm the bearing this pancake breakfast, which is, of course, a show that I've never seen.
Wait, and you're also, so far, it seems almost like you're shirking responsibility. You're just going from station to station without actually doing any work.
That is an interesting way to perceive that.
Okay.
That is an interesting way to perceive that. And we will
You start mixing the bowl and you go, actually, you should do this. Let me go to the other station.
It's... More on that in a bit.
Okay.
Hold that
Coming up at the 10 o'clock hour.
Yeah. Hold that. Do you know where your children are?
Yeah.
And at that point, I was in the kitchen, and
Dinah.
It was pretty. I pretty quickly rose up the ranks in that kitchen. I was really at a certain point just telling people what to do. Being really, really demanding, but of course,
that's the Greg I know.
It was just, but I started as a team player, and of course, I am nothing if not a team player. But someone needed to take a leadership role at this point. So I'm slaving away. At one point, some of my friends come. They come to get their pancakes, and I go, you know what? I'm going to take a break. I've been working really, really, really hard.
Of course.
I'm going to sit down. I'm going to shoot the shit with my friends. That being said, as soon as I sit down, I am still being quite demanding of the kitchen staff, and it's not even a wait staff. They're it's a
Volunteers.
Yeah, it's a go up, get your own pancakes, and meanwhile I'm sort of
Yeah.
Hey, Lisa, we need
Where's
more
the water?
Yeah, we need this maple syrup heated up. It's a little too room temp for me. So I am snapping my fingers, really putting on a show for my friends too, because I am ultimately drunk with power.
Yeah.
At this point, I have just taken my responsibilities way too far. But I also am sitting at a table not doing work at this point. After, as you say, shirk my responsibility, moving from station to station. So
it's tiring telling a lot of people what to do.
Yeah, exactly. And it's sort of, imagine like a 10-year-old gay boy sort of doing that at a sports forward event. So at one point, the guy who actually is running the event comes over to the table I'm sitting at after I think I've asked one too many questions. And he goes, "Hey, Greg, so we appreciate all of the help you've been giving us in the kitchen."
Help with quotes.
Yeah. We appreciate all the help you've been giving us in the kitchen. But you weren't even on the list to volunteer today, so can you actually just stop? Imagine a world in which I decided to go back into the kitchen.
Hey.
Work all of the different stations, boss everyone around, only to be told in front of my friends who I'm trying to impress that I wasn't even supposed to be there in the first place.
Now, do you think that you actually knew that, or you genuinely forgot?
I think I forgot along the way. And that is an insight, a terrifying insight into the delusion.
No, I love it. That is
my mind.
Iconic behavior. That's true Mrs. Thing behavior.
Imagine being so disrespected in front of your friends like that. I say, you know what? You can't fire me. I quit.
I also just love him very sweetly coming to like sit next to you and just being like, it's something I have dreamed of saying to you, which is just like, hey, Greg, please just stop. Just, go home. We've got it from here.
Right.
We respect and appreciate everything you've been doing, but please, for the love of God, stop.
Go to sleep.
Yeah. Remove yourself from the premises. I have a game for you. Are you ready for it?
That's a song that I know.
Okay.
Baby, let the band begin. The
games.
Oh, let the games begin. Let the games begin.
I'm hoping that by the time this airs,
I'll have heard that song for the first time.
No, Reputation TV will have been announced. It's kind of the thing that's been happening this summer is all the fans are trying to guess because she keeps, as the cool kids say, clowning us, or we're clowning ourselves by guessing when the Reputation era is going to come out. But we don't know.
What is a Reputation TV?
Reputation TV.
Is that a channel?
Yes. So TV stands for Taylor's Version.
Taylor's Version.
And so any other re-records is like the previous album TV. But it should be should become the TV channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, what is this, a YouTube station? How do we get featured on Taylor TV?
Oh my God!
Or YouTube TV?
Dream
what is it?
TV. So Reputation, which is one of her eras.
And of course, I am waiting with bated breath.
I actually think, if I were to guess, I think Reputation would be your favorite album of the Taylor oeuvre.
I always I wish Taylor nothing but the best. I absolutely adore. I really do. I appreciate it. I always famously get 5 songs in.
And then stop.
I will
make you a playlist of what I think you should listen to.
I would love that. Yeah. I've done that for you with Madonna,
yes.
Which have you ever listened to?
I have got 5 songs in.
Okay. You had a game.
Let's get into my game. Okay.
Game TV.
Game TV. Tim's version.
There you go.
Yeah.
There
Okay.
you go.
My game is called Pro or Han. And
Okay.
the premise of the game is, would you prefer a professional, a pro, to complete this task, or would you prefer KATHRYN HAHN?
I love that already. Okay.
And then if you do choose KATHRYN HAHN, I would just like to, if you could think for a second, because then she's playing the role of the professional.
Sure.
So if you could name what her character's name would be, you know? So it's like how we just thought of who our HR person is named, I already forgot.
Candace Owens.
Candace Owens. So, Pro or Han?
Han. Pro or Han?
President of the United States.
Obviously, KATHRYN HAHN. Hanala Harris.
Love it. A female roofer.
Well, I would love to see KATHRYN HAHN take on the role of a female roofer. Veronica Shingles.
I would be there opening weekend. For
Veronica
that.
Shingles.
Yeah. Because it's also like, is it that she has shingles? But she loves...
That's the twist.
Yeah, that's the twist.
That's the twist.
You think one thing, that's another.
Right,
Yeah.
and she gave herself shingles during
Yeah.
the process. Veronica Shingles.
Yeah, Veronica Shingles. Topanga Canyon barista.
KATHRYN HAHN, obviously, I would love to see what she does with the role. I would love to see that role played by a brunette. Like Katherine. I think she'd bring a lot of levity, brevity. Mm-hmm. And her name would be Martisha Lalaine.
Very Topanga Canyon.
Yeah, you should see her key fob.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Okay, masseuse.
KATHRYN HAHN, obviously, and I would... God, I'd love to see her masseuse open a studio with Brenda from 6 Feet Under.
Ooh. I thought you were going to say Benji.
And, of course, producer Benji. This is the three of them.
Yeah.
And her name would be Brielle.
Okay, again, I would see that movie.
Okay.
One
One name, no last name.
I honestly, that's what I was anticipating, but I love the depth and 3 dimension that you're giving.
Brenda, Brielle, Benji's the 3 Bs.
Oh, yes, exactly. The last role for Pro and Han, podcast co-host. Think very carefully.
Well, of course, in the film of our pod, of course, I need it to be you.
Thank you.
But I would like to see Katherine tackle the role of Benji.
Oh, okay. I will give you that.
Yeah,
Yes.
Benjamina.
Yeah. Benjamina.
Yeah.
And of course, everyone prefers Benjamina to the two
Two of us.
co-hosts. Yeah.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
She will steal the movie out from under our
A spin-off.
feet.
She'll get her own spin-off, much like WandaVision.
Yeah, it was Benjamina all along.
And that is the game.
I love it.
Should we take a little break?
Please, God, yes.
Welcome
back.
back.
Oh,
my
God. We've done it again. It's time for Diva Down, which is obviously the two of us.
Yes.
Diva Down is our segment, our famous segment where we sort of take someone or something in the culture that's having a hard time and give them unsolicited advice, sort of raise them up as we are legitimately
Raise me
doctor.
up.
When I don't remember the words.
Yeah.
There's something about a mountain.
Okay.
You raise me up when I am something about the sea.
Furious. Okay.
Yeah, very.
We never actually get down to Diva Down. We
Josh
just completely
Groban.
do the full song.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course. Josh Groban is someone that famously I used to see everywhere when I lived in New York.
And we both have now had interactions with him IRL, which we can get into.
We'll get into that another time
yeah.
on Josh Groban's episode
Yeah.
of Mr. Thing.
Yeah.
Who is our Diva Down?
Our Diva Down is, speaking of callbacks to the history of this pod,
It's a big time callback.
this Diva Down is a previous Miss Thing.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is Shen Yun.
Yun. Or is it Shen Yun? We
Shen
had trouble
Yun,
with that
yeah.
last time too. I think it is.
Well, after what has been happening, it's like we shouldn't even take the time to pronounce it correctly because
Shen, you don't even want to go there.
Yes,
Shen, you don't
exactly.
even want to go there.
And so recently, she has been in the press for treating the people who work underneath her.
Yeah, yeah.
There have been a lot of complaints of emotionally abusive.
I think some physical abuse, correct?
Yeah, and not allowing them to like properly get treated for any injuries, like
Sure.
Forcing them to like maintain certain weights, I believe, and like there was like weigh-ins that were against people's wills.
Yeah, and I of course don't know the details, but I do know the vibe.
Mm-hmm.
And we will say, when she was a Miss Thing,
Yeah.
we did bring all of this up. Or, a good
We
portion
just
of it.
enough to know that we didn't know fully what it was about, and now that we do know what it's about,
we condemn it.
we do not stand by it. And I would like to say, I think this is my first case of a Diva Down that I would like to stay down.
Wow.
I just said it.
You heard it here first.
I don't want to uplift her. The only person that I want to uplift in the situation is potentially the publicist of Shen Yun. And I would like her, my advice is for Shen Yun's publicist to come work for us.
Of course. Sort of taking my advice.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, we need you. We need you to get off of the sinking ship.
Yeah.
And take some of those lovely dancers with you.
We will treat them right. Yeah.
We will treat them right. We don't have the money to pay them. But
No.
it doesn't sound like Shen Yun.
And most people just listen to this podcast, so the dancing would be lost on those people.
Yeah, of
But
course.
we would definitely not injure you.
No.
And we would treat you right, you know?
Yeah, we don't have a place for you to stay either. But
No.
But anyway, yeah. But are you done with your advice?
I'm done.
My advice is for everyone to listen to Miss Thing. And heed our warnings.
Yes.
Listen to us because we are never wrong. We are constantly predicting the future. And do we have any facts based in, any sort of evidence? No. The evidence is right here in our guts.
Yeah.
And if you were listening, any of the dancers on Shen Yun, you knew this was coming down the pike.
Yeah.
The New York Times, all of a sudden, using everything we talked about for their big investigation. It's like, we told you guys. So everyone, tell your friends, listen to Miss Thing, because we have all of the up-to-the-minute information you need. And, of course, we do record a little ahead of our release.
Yes.
So
we're even predicting.
We're like way, way far ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Miss Cleo of pods, and never forget.
Never
Is she
forget.
dead?
I think she is R.I.P.
Rest in peace,
Yes.
Mrs. Cleo. Future Miss Thing.
Future, for sure. Unless she also has done bad things. I don't know. I feel like someone has told me. Who knows? We'll look into it and get back to you guys.
Well, either we love you or we don't.
Yeah, exactly. Famously, we either love you or we don't.
Yeah, and you heard it here first, and it really only depends if you've done good or bad. But yeah, publicist, Shen Yun's publicist, call us. I know you have a few billboards out there that you probably need to put a new thing on.
Yeah.
And you also have some stadiums in off markets.
And we will fill those.
Yeah, we'll perform at those.
So in closing it out, listen to us, not just what we're saying, but just the episodes every week.
Yeah, of course.
Because you don't want to miss out. And until next Tuesday.
Which is a time that we'll see you.
Exactly. Goodbye.
Miss Thing Podcast is created, executive produced, and hosted by Greg Trimmer and Tim Zintek.
It's produced and edited by Benji Simons, with cover art and additional creative support by Claude Zines.
Follow us on TikTok and Instagram at Miss Thing the Pod.
New episodes drop every Tuesday. Watch on YouTube or listen on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Please subscribe, rate, and review, but only raves. Strictly 5 stars and above.
Follow Greg at Greg Trimmer and Tim at Tim_Zintek on all social media.
BONK.